Welcome back to the Ref Show. It's rare that any incident occupies our attention for 2 successive weeks, but that was the impact of that penalty fiasco at Newcastle. Don't need to tell you all about it again. Everybody knows about that happened 2 or 3 weeks ago. Now, a follow-through from that, because people always ask Glenn Turner and Paul McGuiness and suggest that there's no accountability for match officials. Well, through Dean Maharib keeping his ear to the ground, we understand that the referee at the centre of that terrible error, Keith Stroud, has been suspended for 28 days. And the other match officials, and certainly if he's going to be punished, the others deserve to be as well, the other 3 match officials for 14 days. First of all, Paul, your reaction to that?
I feel really sorry for him because I know, having been involved in the game a long time, sometimes you can just have a blip. And you just lose where you are, you lose concentration. I know I've had games sometimes where I've come in and I've got the score wrong. I didn't quite, because you're so wrapped up in it. And,
Me too.
and you've been so involved. And I think it can happen. You know, he's a highly respected referee. There's obviously a sort of an example got to be made because it's high profile. It's that high profile that it ends up, there can be good come out of it, because a lot of people now understand the rule. You know, people who didn't know the rule, they know it now. It sticks in their head. So in that sense, it comes out of it. It's got to be seen to be doing something. But I don't think you should be too harsh on him. It's like your goalkeeper lets one through his legs. You've got to be seen to back him for all the saves he's made in the past.
So you think that's too severe, 28 days?
I think it probably is. A couple of weeks and then let him have a game further down and then come back up. That's how I'd feel about it. You've got to back someone who's been doing so, well over so long. You've got to make a bit of an example, but I'd take it as, one of your players who's had a complete, nightmare, and then, you've got to back them.
Okay, Glenn, what's your view?
Yeah, Paul's absolutely right. I mean, does the punishment fit the crime, if you like? Because 28 days, what's that doing to Stroud, Keith Stroud?
How many matches is that?
That could, midweeks and weekends, that could be up to 8. Is effectively his season over. And what's it doing to his confidence? Whilst all the time he's sitting at home for those 4 weeks, stewing, twiddling his thumbs, thinking about it. It's too excessive for me. Look, I understand that people want the pound of flesh. People want to see referees publicly reprimanded.
Flogged.
But nobody will feel worse about that than Keith Stroud himself. I know him, he's a lovely lad and a very, very good referee. He doesn't need 28 days to know that he's done wrong.
There's a difference, though, between a misjudgment and apparently not knowing the law, or having a brainstorm and not applying the laws of the game. That's the difference, isn't it?
Yeah, there is a difference, and I get that, and I absolutely echo what Paul says. Okay, stand him down. Maybe stand him down for a week. And then the public have seen that he has been punished, and then bring him back up gently. League One, League Two, Championship before he's given a chance back again in the Prem.
Let's compare Keith Stroud missing 6 to 8 matches with the suspensions that have been imposed for players and managers laying hands on match officials. Leandro Bacuna of Aston Villa, now to be fair, he got 6 matches for his aggressive challenge on a linesman. Arsene Wenger just 4 matches touchline ban, and Hope Akpan of Blackburn just 1 extra match for pushing the referee in a game at Sheffield Wednesday.
But right at the beginning of that, Alan, you perfect summing up. He put his hands on a referee. It's assault. All right, he didn't hurt him, but he's putting hands on the referee. Now that is a far greater crime than having a momentary lapse in concentration and not recalling law correctly. Nobody got hurt over the penalty incident at Newcastle, and ultimately didn't affect the outcome of the game either.
So there's a lack of balance and fairness.
Lack of parity, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think as well, and you've got to think that's going to happen further down the ladder, right down to Parks football. Somebody's going to get it wrong. What's the reaction from all the players when that happens? Has the ref got the right to say, oh, look, you're right, I'm sorry about that? And not be crucified. They can't be saying, well, look, you're out for 6 weeks, because we need those referees. We can't get rid of them. We need more and more referees. So I think, balance, a bit of balance needs to be seen.
Paul's right. What does it do about attracting younger referees into the game when they think, crikey, I'm one decision away from being hung out for 4 weeks. Forget it. I'm not entering that arena.
Interesting. We'll breeze through 1 or 2 championship games. We've got still a couple of Premier League games to go, and also an incident in Scotland. Just very, very quickly, Newcastle 1, Leeds 1. Chris Kavanagh, very much informed, in charge of this. There's also another star, and that's one of the assistant referees. Now, he knows who he is. Lascelles in opening and scoring for Newcastle. The stills I've seen, it's just it's over the line, but by a fraction.
Great call. Great call. Another
Brave one.
Yeah, great call. Well done.
So that's
Sorry, I just can't recall your name. I wish I could. Heaped the praise on Ian Hussin for the Watford-Swansea game. I'd like to heap some praise on you. I'm sorry, I've forgotten your name.
He knows who he is. He knows who he is. And again, Mr. Kavanagh doing well in that game.
And again, following last week's Premier League outing, don't forget Chris had a good game there as well. Yeah.
His star is on the rise. Preston's is dipping. Another defeat. It's 3-2 at Huddersfield. Simon Grayson, even-tempered usually, very, very reasonable. So we're listening to his complaint. He was furious about stoppage time penalty winner. Well, it came from a penalty that was saved and then followed in. Following an incident that was, this was Lee Probert's game. It was way off the ball. An alleged push and a stamp. You and I have seen the replay and tried to...
You couldn't see. It's off the ball. Obviously, the linesman's seen it and notified the referee. Very hard to see on the TV coverage from that angle. But there must have been something there. And he did look a bit sheepish, the defender. You can read a bit of body language sometimes. But, I think you have to stick with the linesman. He must have seen something.
Big call. So we're going to back the match officials on that because we haven't got any evidence to the contrary. No. Andy Madley's game, Norwich 1, Fulham 3. Chris Martin, a straight red in that. It was quite obscure. Djukanovic, the Fulham manager, was talking about the possibility of an appeal. What do you think? What's your instinct on that?
Well, it was. You could see the arm go up and so on. Again, we've only one view. The referee's only got one view. We sort of sat here saying, well, we didn't get many views on the TV. Yeah. That's what normally helps us. And of course, the referee's only got one view himself. Again, it's another one for video technology. If you had the second and third view, it might well help you out with that. Yeah.
Okay, so again, we're going to have to back the official. That was Andy Madley in that game. I saw another promising young referee in action at Hillsborough. That was David Coote.
Yes,
I think much is expected of him. Yep. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Cardiff 0. I thought he missed some challenges, particularly on home players at times, but he was strong. He wasn't intimidated by the crowd, and he got plenty off them. But he wasn't influenced.
Good.
And there was another one in that Junior Hoylett of Cardiff shoved with some force Daniel Pudil of Sheffield Wednesday. He didn't theatrically go down. He went down right on the touchline. I thought at first he was lucky to escape a red. It was only a yellow. Right. But there's a distinction. There's a line.
The cut-off zone.
Yeah, and I think it must have been below the neck and not above.
I mean, we say that's the cut-off zone. That doesn't mean to say you can punch somebody in the stomach and get away with it. There's also a difference between a push and a punch. If you punch someone, it doesn't matter where you punch them, you're going. Yeah. That's a red. But if it is a push and it's below the head, generally you're going to get a yellow.
I'm assuming that's what happened. I think with one view, a few of us thought it was above the neck, but I don't think it was actually. Completing the Premier League and then off to SPL in Scotland, Southampton 0, Manchester City 3. City back on form. Talk of City being denied a penalty at 0-0. Didn't matter in the end.
No, it didn't matter in the end, but could have done because the scores were 0-0. I thought it was a penalty. Yeah.
You did?
Yeah. I thought it was a penalty. Paul just hit the nail on the head talking about 1, 2, 3, 4 or more video replays. There is one angle that shows it may well have come off the middle finger of the keeper. I'm still not sure whether it did. So I'll go with my first reaction, to be fair to the referee, and my first reaction was, that looked a penalty to me.
Yeah.
If however many video angles prove me to be wrong, then okay, I'll live and die by that. But I'll go with my first reaction rather than try and be clever after the benefit of many different views. I thought it was a pen initially.
Well, it's Neil Swarbrick's game. Mike Dean, Crystal Palace 2, Leicester 2, great game. Nothing to say.
Refereed as well. Yeah. Well done, Dino. Two good decisions in that game.
And another game at the bottom, Stoke 3, Hull 1. Stuart Atwell, whose star is back on the rise. Now to Scotland. Don Robertson is the referee in the middle for this one. Ross County 2 and the Scottish Premier League champions Celtic 2. Sounds a great game, but right at the end, stoppage time, there's a blatant dive, anybody can see it, by Ross County's Alex Schalk. Earns, that's in quotes, an equaliser from a penalty. Bit of a shocker, eh?
When I saw it the first, I thought they'd signed Tom Daly. What a dive. That is an absolute shocker.
Shocker from Schalk.
I don't think he was within like a foot and a half of him. He was nowhere close to him,
No, and the Celtic lads actually behind him like that as well, going, look, ref, I'm not anywhere near him.
The only good thing is that they have retrospective action for blatant simulation in Scotland.
All right, it doesn't matter because Celtic have already coasted to the title, but had it been closer and more on that game, that's suddenly Celtic only getting 1 point instead of the 3 they deserve.
But what do you think, Glenn? I would think here, if they brought it in retrospective, that type of thing, it must help the referees. It must help you. So all the histrionics with Costa and Rojo, they're all simulating he's hit me in the face and he hasn't, and so on. If they know that's going to be brought up and it's going to be a ban,
it's a great point to finish with.
Surely,
a great point to finish with. As to not mattering for Celtic, I just wonder, because even following that, maybe out of frustration, the Celtic skipper, Scott Brown, was sent off for a challenge. That was following that inflammatory incident, and he stands to miss the weekend Scottish Cup semi-final with Rangers.
Players don't like injustice. They don't like it.
No. Neither do we. Thank you ever so much for joining us. Thank you to Paul. Thank you to Glenn, and we'll see you next week. Bye.